Welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make my all-time favorite biscuit recipe. I love it. Have you ever been to your favorite seafood restaurant and maybe your favorite seafood restaurant is the one with the red lobster on it as a logo? Just quite possibly. And quite possibly you've tasted one of their melt-in-your-mouth biscuits. That is what this is. Melt in your mouth. Tastes just like what you buy at the restaurant. Only I'm going to do it gluten-free. And so this is a rustic recipe. It's kind of a heavy, cakey type muffin. It's just delicious. The secret is in the spices. So I'm going to begin. This is a bowl. And this is almond flour. You maybe can't see it, but now you'll be able to see it. That's a cup of almond flour that I got from the health food store. And I'm going to add another half a cup to that. So just don't pack it down. That's important when you're working with almond flour. You don't want to pack it down. It's not good for it. Okay, so now we're going to put a teaspoon of baking powder in it. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to turn my oven on. So that's what I'm going to do right now at 340, not 350, but 340. Did you know that? Have you ever had a recipe that's at 340? This one is. Okay, we'll get that going. Now we've got our almond flour, our teaspoon of baking powder. Oh, you know what, Amy? I was going to ask you if we can make it so that we can have it written down. Can you do that? Mm-hmm. Okay, you guys, we're set. My helper is here and I love her to bits. Okay, now we're going to do a half a teaspoon of salt. And we love this salt because it's good for my daughter's thyroid. Don't ask me why. I should know, but I don't. A quarter of a teaspoon of oregano, but this is a half a teaspoon because my theory is if a little bit is good, a lot is a lot better. So I put it between my fingers and get all the oils from it. This is Old Bay seasoning. Oh, I love it. This is the secret to this recipe here. So I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of my Old Bay. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of my garlic herb spices. Got all our spices in. In this bowl I've got 3 eggs. They're at room temperature. I've started in just recent years when I have a recipe, I like to have my eggs at room temperature because I'm going to add butter to this. And, well, that's not really the reason, but anyway. We're doing a half a cup of cheese now. What's the word for it? Strong cheddar cheese? That's not the right word. Sharp cheddar cheese is the word I'm searching for. Okay, we're going to whip those two together. Our cheese and our eggs, our 3 eggs at room temperature. Here I've got 2 cups of grated zucchini, fresh zucchini, peel and all, because I love the green in it. Now, the recipe calls for 1 cup of shredded zucchini. But like I said, this is a rustic recipe and I like my biscuits kind of heavy and moist. So I'm putting like double the amount of my zucchini in there. Plus it's a really good way to get my veggies in, which I'm not big at doing. Okay, back to our almond flour. This is it needs to be worked a bit. So my hands are clean. I wash them. Not that you care because you're not going to taste this anyway. but I'm just going to kind of swoosh that around and kind of make it so that the almond flour is not quite as heavy a course. And so all my spices are in there, my baking powder, my spices, they're all there together. And I always check over my ingredients just to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, that's good. I've got a cup and a half almond flour, teaspoon baking powder, half teaspoon salt, quarter teaspoon plus oregano, 3 eggs whipped at room temperature, 1/4 cup melted butter. That's what I need, is my melted butter. Here's a 1/4 cup of melted butter, and I'm going to put it right in there with my eggs and cheese. And I love to use spatulas because I like to get every last great, good little morsel of butter and anything else. Okay, we got our cheese, and we're going to put our zucchini in. So our oven's at 340. I've got a bowl, well, a container here. It's kind of an odd size, but I'll tell you a secret about this recipe, you guys. This is a combination of 2 recipes. And the one recipe says, be sure to line the muffin tin with cupcake liners. They will stick no matter how well you prepare the pan. Muffin liners stuck, and people were trying to scrape all the batter from all the good cakey goodness from the muffin liner. And so I decided there's got to be a way to do this. I knew that just greasing a pan was not going to do it. So here's my size. Doesn't look very big, but this will give you either 4 really nice sized muffins, like good sized muffins, or 6 smaller ones. So I'm going to line the sides and the bottom of this. And this is the tricky part here, because you got to get it so that, you got to get your liner so that no bare glass is showing, so that everything is covered, or it will stick, and we don't want it to stick because we want all that goodness into our mouths and not on some paper. So what I'm going to do is just going to take that heavy right there and let it sit there, and then kind of turn this around the corner and slide it under there. And I'm going to put something else heavy on it right there. Oh, that's not heavy enough. Put that right there just to hold it. And I'm going to continue around. You can't really see it, but it's continuing around the corner. Then I'm going to take another one, another piece of parchment paper. Well, it looks like that's covered okay. I'll put this piece over here. The main idea, you guys, is to get it covered so that there's no batter going onto the utensil that you're putting your stuff in. Okay, so I'm going to start mixing it together. Put that over there a little bit. Now that my pan is prepared, I'm going to add the egg and the cheese and the butter into my dry mixture and get all that goodness out again. Then I'm going to add my zucchini. And like I said, if you want to cut the zucchini in half and just do 1 cup, you're more than welcome to. But I don't even measure it anymore. I've made this recipe so much that I don't hardly even measure it. I think I'll leave that much in. And now I'm just going to simply, excuse me, I'm going to fold this in. You don't want to over stir it, because you want it to be mixed in as quickly as possible. Your baking powder is going to start getting activated. And because you don't have any yeast in this, yeast is really not good for our systems. And so the baking powder will only last about 3 minutes or so, and then it's kind of you're gonna have a flat product if you don't work fairly quickly. So I'm just folding it over and over until all that dry is incorporated into all the wet. And it's almost there. Don't want to over stir it, but I do want to get all the little dry pieces up from the bottom, right? So I'm going to start dumping into the corners. So because the corners are you want them nice and brown and crispy and just delightful. So I'm going to kind of hold that in place while I dump this into that corner. So I'm just going to take a scoopful. You can do this. Don't have to be ambidextrous to do it. And I don't think you can see there, but I just dumped it into that corner. Now I'm going to take another bunch and dump it into that corner. And now I'm going to take and just, this is the trickiest part of the whole thing, is getting that silly parchment paper into place, but it works. It works. It's better than having people scrambling to get every last little bite off the muffins with the muffin liners. So I've found that if you do the corners first, the rest takes care of itself. So, and almost there, and we're almost, see how fast that was? Isn't that fast, Amy? Okay, man overboard. Want that to go just like that, over like that. Don't have to smooth it out too much. Don't be too fussy with it. It'll just be delightful. Now, I'm going to bake this for 30 to 35 minutes. I'm going to set a timer, and then I'm going to put a toothpick in and see if it's done in the middle. If it is, I'm going to turn my broiler on high and just kind of brown the top of it. I love to have it browned. So there you are. It's ready to go in the oven. And so about 4:30 it's going to come out. Now, I have this little pan here, and I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I'm going to put in the little pan, and I'm going to melt it. But along with that, I'm going to put, let me see, I'm going to put 1/4 teaspoon, and I think that'd be this one right here, of this garlic. No, that's not the garlic. This is the garlic. Into my pan, and it's going to get melted with the butter. And then 1/4 teaspoon of the Old Bay. I'm going to melt that while my product is baking. And I'm going to watch it so that it doesn't burn. But in the meantime, so now what happens when you put this under the broiler and it's nice and brown and crispy on the outside and delicious on the inside, then as soon as it's hot and out of the oven, you're going to have this melted concoction here with the garlic herb and the Old Bay seasoning with the butter, and you're going to drizzle that over the top of the biscuits when it's piping hot. So now, this is the one that I baked this morning, just so we get an idea of what it looks like. Can you see that? Deliciousness. So I'm going to cut a piece. And I'm going to have Amy try it. She's never tasted this before. Have you, Amy?
No.
No, you haven't. Okay. Now, do you want me to change? I'll turn that down a bit. I'm going to come around here.
Thank
and
you.
You can have a taste. And I'll have a taste too, because, you know, can't get enough of a good thing.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you love it?
I didn't expect it to be so good with zucchini being one of the ingredients.
I know, right? Isn't that a surprise?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is so good, you guys. You have to do this recipe. And when you do it, will you please let me know how you absolutely loved it? So good. Put some soup with this, or you could even cut it in half and make a cheese grill. You could make a sandwich out of it, an egg salad sandwich, a tuna sandwich, a chicken sandwich, whatever. Chicken salad sandwich. That's it. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. I'd love it. And ring the bell for me. Thumbs up and ring the bell. I'd love you to do that. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a great evening. Bye.